Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're jumping into the incredible story of a fashion brand that saw a market just bursting with color and decided to do the complete opposite. This is the story of Sadakalo and how a Super Bowl bet on black and white created one of Bangladesh's most iconic brands. All right, let's get into it.
So for more than 100 years, this has pretty much been the standard definition of fashion, right? It's all about fitting in, going with the flow, following the leader. This quote from sociologist George Simmel really sets the stage. Fashion has always been seen as a way to conform, to wear what's popular, to show you're part of the group.
And that is the billion-dollar question. What happens when a brand just says no to imitation and instead goes for something radically different? Well, this is exactly where the story of Sadakalo kicks off. It's a total masterclass in zigging when the entire world is zagging.
All right, so let's dig into the core concept. In a world with endless choices and colors, one founder had a vision that was, well, literally black and white.
This slide just lays it all out perfectly. On one side, you've got the market at the time. It's this loud, chaotic, super competitive space saturated with every color you can imagine. And on the other side, you have Sadakala's idea, this quiet, calm, simple world of just black and white. You know, this wasn't just about design. It was a huge strategic move to carve out a brand new space where they had no competition. Honestly, on paper, it's an idea that sounds like it was destined to fail. So who was the mind behind this vision? Tassina Shaheen, coming from the Institute of Fine Arts. She wasn't your typical entrepreneur. She was an artist with a totally different way of seeing things. She had this powerful belief that what customers really wanted wasn't just more color. They were chasing a feeling, the feeling of being unique and special. And she bet everything that a sophisticated, elegant mix of black and white could deliver that feeling better than anything else. So in 2002, she put it all on the line.
And the name says it all, doesn't it? Sadakalo. In Bengali, it literally means white-black. It's so much more than just a clever name. It's a promise, it's a creative constraint, it's the entire business model packed into just 2 words. Every single thing they made had to live inside this simple, elegant world.
Okay, let's see how this all comes together. Because, having a great idea is one thing, but making it actually work in a tough market, that's the real challenge. Sadakalo had to be incredibly smart about where they played and who they sold their vision to. So check this out. This is where Sadakalo was so clever. They didn't go off and try to invent a whole new category. Nope. They went right for the heart of the biggest part of the market. A massive 80% of women's fashion was traditional clothing, like the sari and kameez. Sadakalo's whole plan was to jump into this huge, established world and offer something completely refreshingly different.
And this is just textbook niche marketing done absolutely perfectly. They didn't try to be for everyone. They were laser focused on a very specific person, a middle-class woman, probably in her 30s or 40s, who valued timeless style and sophistication over fast, flashy trends. By knowing this customer inside and out, they weren't just selling clothes. They were selling an identity that fit their target's life perfectly.
But here's something you might not expect. Look at how balanced their products are. Even though women were their main customers, they put a ton of effort into men's and children's clothes. They even had this clever idea of twinning, making identical outfits for parents and their kids. It was such a smart move. It turned them from just another women's boutique into a place the whole family could shop. All right, now for the operational genius behind the brand. For Sadakalo, simplicity wasn't just an aesthetic. It was the guiding principle for their entire business, an engine just built for pure efficiency. So this was basically the nerve center, the control tower for the entire operation. Instead of having designers over here and producers over there, all in their own little worlds, Sadakalo built this powerful central planning department. It acted like a bridge, connecting everything from the first design sketch to the final product in a warehouse. This let them move fast and allow the creatives and the production folks to just focus on what they did best. And they had some really clever tricks up their sleeve. A couple of these are just brilliant. First, selling rejected designs. Instead of throwing them out, they'd sell them as a special limited edition line. It turns a loss into an exclusive product people actually want. And second, reshuffling unsold clothes between their stores. A dress that isn't selling in one part of the city might be a huge hit in another. It's just a simple, cheap way to get the most value out of every single thing they make. But, no success story is a straight line up, right? Sadakalo had this amazing growth, but they also hit some major bumps in the road and had to face some seriously tough competition.
This timeline really tells the story of how they learned and adapted. You see the early success, then this big, ambitious move in 2006 with the Designer's Corner. But when that failed just a year later, they didn't crumble, they pivoted. They joined a collective called Deshi Dash to gain strength in numbers. They expanded to New York, and they got way smarter about where they opened stores back home, targeting places near universities and in residential areas.
You can think of their competition as fighting a war on 3 different fronts. First, you have their direct rivals within that Deshidosh collective, which is this really cool idea where a bunch of local brands share one big store, all fighting for the same exact customers. Then you've got the market giant, Arong, with way more money and resources. And finally, you have what they call the style competitors, those glamorous and glitzy Indian brands. Sadakalo had to defend its simple, humble style against all 3.
And look, the numbers tell the story. In those early years, their growth was just explosive. We're talking up to 19% a year. But after 2008, as the market got more and more crowded, you can see that rate cooled off a bit, to around 13%. I mean, that's still really healthy growth, but it's a clear sign that staying on top was getting a lot harder.
So, after this incredible decade of success, what does the future actually hold? Let's take a look at the big challenges and the huge question that's kind of hanging over the brand right now.
So what are the big hurdles they have to clear? Well, for one, their home market in Dhaka is getting pretty full. Their whole model of making things in small batches, which is what makes them feel so special, also kind of caps how much money they can make. And because they don't spend a lot on advertising, they risk people forgetting about them. You know, it's the great irony of business, isn't it? The very things that made them a success, that sharp focus and unique production, are now the biggest roadblocks to future growth.
And this really is the question that gets to the heart of it all. Sadakalo proved that a simple, focused idea could win big in a complicated market. But as that market gets even more crowded and global trends get louder and louder, can their whole philosophy of less is more keep on winning? It's a fascinating test for a brand that was built on the power of just 2 simple colors. Thanks so much for watching.